we in? We're in. Hey there, barbecue fans. Welcome back to another sizzling episode of Wise Guys Barbecue Podcast. I'm Vin Porcaro, your go-to guy for all things smoky and savory. And today we're kicking things up a notch with a show that's going to leave you taste buds tingling. I'm here with my co-host, the man with the master plan, Chip Baldwin, and I like to call you Charlie. That's why I paused there. And the international celebrity A-list angel, Yesmin Morales.
Yay!
Bum, 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 bum. How's everything going, guys?
Well, Vin, I haven't had a plan ever in my life, so I appreciate you. I appreciate you saying that I did have one. But yeah, I'm fired up and ready to go. A little tired, long day at work, but we got some great stuff to talk about, and having Yasmin here is going to be fantastic.
Yes, absolutely agree with you. A long day at work, but I am very excited to be here to talk about how barbecue brings all the world together, whether you are in back of a pickup truck or halfway across the globe.
Yeah, that's so true, Jasmine. That's what we're here to talk about today, guys. We're going to go through a couple things. We're going to start it off with tailgate barbecues, right? We're going to try to hit on some smoking and some grilling at the tailgates. Doesn't matter if you're going to a sports event or if you're going to a concert, as long as you're in a parking lot. My way of saying it, the last neighborhood in America, and you're just going to share some delicious food with your guests and the guests that are parked next to you. So, where do you want to start, Charlie? You want to?
Well, let's just jump right into it. This is America, and football is a religion in this country, and tailgating is a huge part of it. They go together like peanut butter and jelly or anything else you can put together, sun on the beach. Whatever, tailgating is a major part of the football experience and other sports too. But football is traditionally your hot spot for great tailgating. And like Vince said, there's really a community atmosphere when you go to these tailgates. I'll just give you, speaking from experience up in Foxborough, people just walk around and you just get invited into people's cookouts, and they always want to share stuff with you, booze or whatever they've cooked for the game, and it's just it's a wonderful feeling. There's no hate there, man. It's just all love and hoping the Patriots win, which might be a long shot this year, but we'll see what we can do. The thing that's different about tailgate cooking is, you're away from home, so you either have to prep it up before you get to the field and then bring it. Or a lot of people bring their smokers right there. They get to the parking lot at the crack of dawn and start their smoke right there. And that can be a challenging effort. Vin, you're very experienced at tailgating. We did a lot of stuff for Luke's football games. And what are some of the challenges you had?
No, it's all. So you're right on, Chip. You're on the spot. I mean, everything's time, right? You only got to do what you can do out there, and if you're cooking hot and fast, you're okay, right? Because time is not as important. But if you're going low and slow, you got to spend the hours. So I have done my 15 to 18 hour briskets, night prior, and brought them up in a rest mode and served them warm at the events. Or I have used some offset grills that you can convert over to a smoking process, especially with some nice royal charcoal, and you can smoke there. But again, if you're going to smoke, you got to be low, and if you're low, you're slow. So you got to plan a good 6 to 8 hours, which might not be terrible, right? Because a lot of times, and I'll be honest with you, and probably this year with the Patriots, I might not even make it into the game.
Correct.
Right? Get there at like 8, 9 in the morning, set up, park, crack open the first beer and start the slow process of smoking. And then from there, it's just a matter of, hey, is it worth going into the game, or are we just having too much fun out here?
Why screw up a good thing?
Exactly. Why
screw up something that's working, right? So then we can watch the game out here in the parking lot on our phone and enjoy some cold ones and some great cooking. Yasmin, you're from Guatemala, so How do you have tailgating in other countries like that? Is that something that is the same as here?
It's really not the same. We just gather together as tailgating kind of thing, but we do not cook outside. We like mostly go for like eating, the food from the streets, supporting the people and stuff. They do set up like almost the same thing that Vinny was explaining. They set up for everything they're gonna be selling, but we mostly, focus on getting to the game actually, and
My
not
favorite
cooking.
This is a very important
I
word
got that
for
one
Jasmine.
right. So
You must, if you're at home and
yeah,
you're
my
watching
English
the show,
is perfect. If you hear
must-
a accent, it's just the editing part of the podcast. It's not me.
What
you
accent?
must
What accent?
fuck us. It's mandatory.
But I have had experience with tailgating, especially for the opposite side of the football, soccer. Actually, my kids used to play soccer, and we've done tailgating with at the Gillette Stadium. To go watch the
Go watch the Revolution.
Yeah, to watch the revolution. So I do have some experience here. Back in my country, not that much. Like I said, it's just going in there in groups, driving together, but not cooking on the parking lots.
Have a few cocktails maybe beforehand.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Go
All
to
the time.
the-
Before, after, and between, and all
Okay,
the way
that's
there.
what I'm talking about.
Yep.
It's the only way to tolerate the refs. I mean, you got to be half in the bag just to listen to those refs because they think they're the athletes on the field. And
Oh, they are.
It's terrible. It's
They
terrible.
do run a lot. I will give them that. They
Yeah.
do run a lot.
And I joke if it wasn't for the referees and little league umpires, we wouldn't have games. And it's unfair sometimes some of the abuse they take.
Oh, God bless you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's awesome. So when you're talking about it, it's more of have a few cocktails, go to the game, and then there's like food trucks or carts or setups that you can buy food from outside the stadium.
Outside the
And you get
stadium,
something
yeah,
to eat, and then you go
definitely.
in.
And bringing in, the illegal drinks into the stadium too.
That's a big part. That's a big part. You got
The
to
most
flask.
important thing of the games is
Yeah.
getting drunk.
Fantastic.
Girls get away with everything.
Murder.
It's amazing. So let me explain to our listeners. We're in a different studio. We had to move out of our poker room. We're basically in a safe house right now. We're on the lam. We're lambing it. You can't get into the whole story here, guys. It's too intriguing. But just want to give you an understanding that this is our new studio, and hopefully it'll grow on us and we'll like it. But I don't know. What do you think, guys? You like it at all, or?
No, I don't like it. I preferred the previous one.
Yeah.
But, I'm a team player, and I've got great teammates, and we are going to kill it. You can put us on the roof of the house
Yep.
or in the basement with no lights on, and we're going to do a great job. So I'm just kidding. Everything's wonderful. We're lucky to have a setup like
Well,
this.
here we are. We're here. We're going good. The lights should be a little better, I hope. We'll go from there. But so tailgating is fantastic, and amazingly enough, it doesn't have to be for a sporting event, right? I started with a sporting event. I mean, back when my oldest child was just got out of high school, someone challenged me to have a pig roast at the side of a football event in a tent, and
You did the whole pig, didn't you, that day?
I did.
That's
I
amazing.
did. We did. We went out. We got a cajachina, which is basically a wooden box, tin lined, where you put charcoals on the top. There's not really smoking involved. It's more just like a roasting box. But you can cook. It's a while. It's 15 hours where you have to cook this pig and flip it one time in the process. But oh my God, it makes such a great presentation to the people that come up. And I should be able to put some pictures up for you guys on YouTube watching this. And that's where I started, and then from there, my love for smoking continued, and I went into some different kind of smokers. And
Was that the McCoy Stadium one you did?
no, yes, McCoy
It was like
Stadium.
raining sideways for the Thanksgiving game.
Yeah,
And
it
I
was,
didn't go.
there is
Loyalty.
we actually had one year where we had to move the game to Bryant University because we couldn't play on grass, and it was froze, and we actually got out there 2 a.m. and found ourselves some piece of asphalt and set up, and we just had a slow slow cook this pig, and it was because it was a 12 o'clock game. Usually we cook for a 6 o'clock game, so we can start somewhere around
Yeah,
like
you have
4 or
more
5 in
time.
the morning. But we had to get there 2 in the morning to get it done by noon. And it was great. The food was terrific. And, we have heated tents for the guests and the kids. It's all for the kids. The kids and the parents come back later and have a hell of a time. And it comes off really nice.
Something interesting about what you were talking about, the, how'd you pronounce it? The conchina?
No, it's Caja China, which
Caja China.
yeah. And I was talking with Jasmine before the show about, the name and where it derives from. And she's got some interesting stories about a lot of names like that. But honestly, back when they were building the railroads, right, in the 20s and 30s, a lot of imported immigrants, purposely for the event, Chinese and Spanish people from Mexico, they brought them in, and these Chinese people would make this box out of wood and tin, and they would roast their food in it. And the Spanish people would see it, and they nicknamed it, and they called it caja, which is box for Spanish, right?
Correct.
And China, because the Chinese people were doing it. So Caja China was born, and there you go.
Where'd the China come from? Because it said China on the side of the box?
The China on the side of the box. Yes, I was telling Vinny the story about Puerto Ricans calling the orange fruit and the color orange La China. It's because when the Chinese people were exporting the actual fruit, the orange fruit, it was on the boxes itself. It says made in China or coming from China.
Okay, gotcha.
So they were reading like China. So they named the fruit after that name. So that's why they actually call the fruit
crazy.
La China and the color La China.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how didn't they? So tell the one about the chocolate milk.
Oh, the chocolate milk. It's a funny story because back in my town, when every year in November around the 22nd, we have this big party, I will say, where we celebrate Santa Cecilia the Virgin, and Santa Cecilia the Virgin. And
I understood everything but virgin.
so we do have these people that come from all over, from everywhere from the country. They set up their tents and, video games and all that stuff and food. And the Spanglish involved is that they sell these drinks, the milkshakes, and they say choco milk. But my friend and us, we were just buying a choco milk, but he was like arguing with the guy selling the choco milk. He said, can I have I'm just going to say the whole thing in Spanish. He was like, puedo tener un choco milk de piña, which means can I have a choco milk out of pineapple? And he was arguing, this does not taste like pineapple, obviously, because it was made out of milk and chocolate. And I was like, you have to be an idiot. This is just Spanglish word combined, called like the choco milk. Isn't really mixed, like it's actually a shake. If you want a shake, you have to say, give me a pineapple shake. But it's just how the Spanglish get mixed with,
The Spanglish.
Yep, the Spanglish.
Unreal.
And Spanglish is a combination of English and Spanish.
No way, really?
Is that what it is?
Yes, wow. I want to go to the school he went to.
For our listeners that might not know, Spanglish is Spanish and English combined.
Yes.
Okay.
If not, would it have been called Franglish? Frenchglish.
Hey guys, I'm going to do a cut in here real quick because I have to drink wine when I work all the time. It's mandatory.
I wasn't allowed to do that when I worked for you.
No, that was entirely not allowed. But so we have our friends from actually Paul's Fine Wine and Liquors over in Mendon Road in Cumberland, Rhode Island. Paul's a great guy. He's got a great store. He's always out there pulling down different brands of delectable liqueurs. And, I'm a wine lover, so I go out there and do some wine. So he turned me on to this Marancino Braccetto di Acque Pinete 2019. So this is actually, it's a little different, but it's perfect for us because we just had a little barbecue before we sat down at the mics. And this is, it's a delicate ruby red, sweet and sparkling wine. So it's going to be a little sweet and it's going to be a little bit refreshing, different from like a heavy Bordeaux or Tuscany kind of super Tuscan wine. So here we go. I mean, cheers. Tell me what you guys think. If you like it or you don't, if this is up your alley or not.
Salud.
Salud.
Ka-chink.
I love it.
it's sweet, right? I got nervous. I actually popped the cork, and it kind of.
You can smell the sweet.
No, it kind of exploded a little bit. I was like,
because of
it's
the
not
sparkling?
champagne. Yeah, it's sparkling. So I was like, this is bad. This is gonna, this is why they ask you to smell wine at the restaurant. So then I tasted it. I'm like, oh, this is fermented because it was sweet. I'm like, it's actually not bad. So I read read the full bottle description. I was like, ooh, it's supposed to be this way.
What
So
country is this from?
this is from Piedmont area in Italy.
Okay.
So
Reminds me of the remember the Lancers I was looking for at
yes,
at
the Portuguese wine.
Yes. Reminds me of that.
Okay. Good. Well, now you have a good substitute if you can't
I
find
do.
any. There you go. All right. Well, thanks for entertaining me with that. So, I mean, we're going to jump into our next segment in a moment, but just wanted to make sure if Jasmine and Chip had anything else about barbecue. We're going to come back around to it too for the tailgates and some Spanish cooks. But that's what I find amazing probably about this episode is hearing from our celebrity A-list angel because she keeps track of, she loves barbecue and she keeps track of what's going on YouTube. That's her. Do you cook much barbecue, Jasmine?
I do.
You do cook it. Okay, good. Because I know you stay up on it a lot, YouTube, and there's some fantastic things out there from different Spanish pitmasters. The one I'm really interested in is the Argentina Asado. Yeah, that there's some amazing videos of these guys that are just killing it on the grill with these cooks. And what I find amazing in the process, and then I'll let you engage me on what I don't know, it's almost like the meat they cook, dependent on how they're going to cook it, has to be butchered in a certain way. Like, they'll have the same part of a cow, and in one cut, there's maybe twice the amount of fat on it than another cut, just because they're going to put it on a fire that's going to be closer and hotter to the heat. They're going to cook that thing 500 to 800 degrees. So that fat's going to burn off, and the marbling is going to go back into the meat, and it's just so different than other ones that are butchered differently because they might do it on a little slower cook, or they do a lot on spicks too. Mm-hmm. So it's so interesting because it's not just I mean, our competition's cooks, they kill it. Why do they kill it? Well, they stay to a formula that works. They don't sway. They do it over and over, and it's time, temperature, and their spices. And these guys are a little bit different, right? Because they gotta live the cook. It's a true artistic event in what they do. I just find it amazing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I've been to a few Argentinian establishments, and you get the, how do you say, the meat table in Spanish? I don't know.
The burrata?
La tabla de carne? Is that meat table? Am I speaking,
you're really.
am I speaking
you're
Spanglish?
really getting your Spanglish out now.
La tabla.
You're getting the Spanglish
No,
screwed up.
what's
La tabla de carne.
What's the Spanish word for barbecue? It's barbacoa, right?
Barbacoa.
Yeah. Anyway, you go to this place and you get a big platter
It just
of
gets
all
a
the
little
steak.
confusing in the translation because in reality, barbecue for us is the actual sauce, barbecue sauce. Okay. So here in America, they call it, we're going to do a barbecue, the grilling stuff.
Right.
We actually just call it like la parrillada or carne asada. Technically, it's just la
But
parrillada.
are those names of the meats that you're saying right there, or are those names of the spices? What are
This
you
is just
describing?
actually like the name of doing the grilling itself.
Oh, like the process.
Yeah, like doing the grilling itself. When it comes to the Argentinians, the way they do their carne asada, I will say one of the thing that represents Argentina in general is how they prepare their chimichurri, which we found interesting. I think he was reading something about Argentinians do not season their
remember we
meat. I
saw
was
that?
like,
It doesn't make
not
any
true,
sense, right?
because it makes no sense.
Yeah.
They're actually one of the best people. Like,
Who said that? I said that?
No, I was looking at
we
something
were
on
looking at
YouTube.
video on
okay.
Google, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
Because
And
I say pretty stupid stuff, so it sounded like
Nope,
me.
you're safe this time.
Okay.
no, yeah. So the chimichurri is like like the pesto in America, and it's like the flavor of the carne asada technically. regardless if they put any seasoning other than salt and pepper. It doesn't matter. The chimichurri will just be like the cherry on the.
That's the unique taste that
Yep.
you get when you go
That's
to
the
places
unique
like
taste.
that.
Yep.
And that taste, is it standard? Like, is it the same everywhere, or can it be spicy and can it be sweet?
I think
does it
for
change?
the Mexican part, obviously it's gonna have to be spicy.
Yeah.
Because, Mexicans.
Yeah. Well,
we Mexicans eat everything with.
and it doesn't have to be kosher. Like we went, so on our we go to these barbecue safaris, and when you go out to South Carolina, North Carolina, the sauces and the way they make their sauce and what's in them change from over 100 miles, just north to south or east to west of a state. So I can only imagine in other countries how different they could be.
Oh no, you're definitely. In my opinion, based on the videos I've watched from the Argentinians, it's mostly like cilantro, onions, garlic, mostly it's a universal
Yes.
things that we all use. It's just like different, like you said, spicier or no spicier at all.
Yep.
We do have in my country actually restaurants that are called chimichurris. It's just totally different. It's nothing grilled, but it's just like a sandwich. But they do use the sauce from them. Like I wouldn't say we just did a copycat, but
How does chimichurri differ from verde sauce? There's like a green, isn't there like a green? Verde is green, so I don't know if there's a green or a red one too.
yeah, if you're relating to the green sauce, like the universal green sauce, I'm gonna call it, it's just a tomatillo.
Uh-huh.
It's
Yes.
like
It's
a
like green
tomato.
tomatoes,
It's a
yeah.
green tomato,
Yeah.
which gets grilled actually, and it gets blended, and then it gets mixed with cilantro, onions, avocado.
Cilantro. That's what I was trying to say to
Yeah.
Sue outside when you were saying all the stuff. It was
Oh,
cilantro.
cilantro.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You
the
just saved my-
cilantro is like-
wouldn't have been able to sleep tonight.
Yeah, sauce without cilantro is just not sauce.
Yeah.
In my
Oh no, I
opinion.
know. No, it's amazing. Some of the wraps that she does. I mean, as soon as you put cilantro on it, just like makes it like you're biting into a garden.
Yeah.
You know. So
It just
it's-
depends on the taste of people. I do love basil as well, but cilantro is just a totally different world. It's a
sure.
unique flavor that brings a whole world together.
Sure.
I would put it that way.
I'm going to put a video up on YouTube later for our YouTube watchers, probably right up here. And it's going to have Rincon Argentino in Miami. It's an authentic Argentinian restaurant in Miami, and their kitchen and their cook, and I don't want to screw up his name. I think it's a C. It might be a Carlos, but he's just amazing. He's been with this owner, came from Argentina, and he's been cooking for over 30 years. And this guy is just, you watch the video, the fires that he's on. There's actually one piece where he brings 3 different cuts of beef, and he has it in a box with the charcoal still in the box. So you're basically at your table cutting into the meat over a grill, right? It's over. It's
So
over.
you technically are paying to eat your food, but you have to cook your
You've got to
food.
cook your food.
That's
too.
correct.
Exactly. But that's okay.
correct.
That's okay.
That's a funny story when you have to go to a restaurant where they actually serve you,
The,
raw meat, and you have to wait for it to get cooked.
Yeah, what is it? The Chinese place, the hot pot?
Yes,
where
the
they
hot
bring
pot.
all the meat
Oh,
out,
yes,
and
yes,
you have to cook it yourself.
Yep.
So one of our friends over at Sura Korean Barbecue in Johnston, Rhode Island, there's a review up on RIBBQ News. Hey, RIBBQnews.com. Go there. Read our articles. They're very, very informative. Don't forget to take care of our sponsors. Excuse me. Same thing as a hot pot, Charlie, except it's a barbecue grill. You went there once.
I
with
did
me.
go there with you one
Yep.
time.
So
I
they
don't
bring you out
remember
all the
why.
fresh meat. You pick your meat. I find it amazing. I forget the exact price. It might be like $42, and it's basically all.
No, it
you
was
can eat.
reasonable.
Yeah, it's all you can eat, right?
Yep.
So you just start. You call there's like I don't know 8 or 9 different proteins and fish that you can just keep calling out, plus side dishes, and they just keep bringing them, and you keep cooking them, you keep eating them.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah,
So they give you 1 hour, I think.
I don't know. There is a time limit.
There is
I
a time
think they
limit,
give us-
which means
I think
you're
it's
spending
45
like
minutes
35
more than
minutes
1
cooking.
hour because.
You spend 35 minutes cooking your meat.
So if you're in Miami, go to Rincon Argentino down there and tell them Vinny sent you, and that'll get you absolutely nothing. But it's supposed to be fantastic. I think when you see this video, you'll agree. Another one of our recent giddy ups around here has been a little bit of a pandering to you folks at home. We want you to get us some contact. We need to learn from you and what we need to do to better this show. So to kind of enlist your emails, we have a contest. So it's real simple. It's called A Made Guy or Whacked. And it's basically, we want to hear your stories. It could be a story on anything. You could change your oil of your car. You can do a backyard cook. You could be doing a competition cook. I don't care what it is, but tell us something you did that was very, very successful that made you a made guy.
Well, listen, if you're going to be a made guy and you change your oil, there better be some meat involved in the changing of your oil. You better be grilling next to the car while you're changing your oil if you want to be a made guy. If you want to be a regular guy, a regular schmo,
yes,
you can just talk about the oil change.
I'll support that. And of course, if you have a story that was just a total flop, just a horror show, we want to hear that too, right? So you might get whacked for it, but we want to hear the successes as well as the failures. So please share those emails. You can do that by my favorite guy in the world and somebody we have to, we're enlisted to take care of is Fredo at barbecuenews.com. So Fredo at barbecue news. No, what am I saying? Sorry, I screwed up. Fredo at wiseguysbarbecue.com. There we go.
We're giving out our sponsor's name instead.
Yes, that's bad. That wasn't. I did that last week with the Safari too.
I think we did. But anyway, it's okay.
So anyways, here we go. So here's Fredo's pick, guys. And congratulations, Brad from Cumberland. You got picked by Fredo, so good job. So I'm going to go ahead and read this, and then we can see what we think. So, hey, Wise Guys Barbecue team, I hope you're all doing a great job. Doing great. I just wanted to drop a quick email to see if Fredo will pick it up and read it on the podcast. Fredo couldn't make it, guys, so you got us.
Last time I saw him, he was fishing.
I recently had a backyard smoker cook at my home in Cumberland, Rhode Island, and I'm really excited to share the details with you all. This was actually my third time smoking in the backyard, and it was my first time ever smoking a pork butt. The cook turned out amazing. The flavors were on point. I'd say this cook makes me a made man now. Well, all right, Brad, so I'm going to finish reading your email for sure, but understand that's our job. Okay, don't do our job. We'll tell you if you're going to be a made man or whacked, but don't do our job.
That's how you get whacked, Brad. All right, do our job, you get whacked.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to chat with you all on an episode about the whole process, the tips, the tricks that made it work, and maybe even some of the hiccups I had along the way. I think your listeners would get a good kick out of hearing my story. Looking forward to hearing back from you. Thanks again for the opportunity, Brad. So, first of all, Brad, we're kidding. So don't get upset. And don't look out your window. There's nobody out there going to whack you. I'm glad your smoke came out on point. We'd love to have you on the show. I mean, we are getting technologically advanced here, so we can get callers in on the show. So I think it would be cool to have you on, and you can share that story, and we can kind of further disseminate if you are a made man or if you should be looking out that window. Did he
say, was this, how many cooks has he done? That wasn't like his first cook.
No, he said, I think a third.
His third.
Okay, so
this is actually my third time smoking in my backyard.
So you're learning. You're in the learning stages, right where you should be.
Yeah, and he thinks things were on point. And, hey, look, if it was cooked and it tasted good, and it wasn't dry, then you're absolutely right. It was probably on point, so that was great. We would have loved to hear what you made out of the pork. Like, how'd you serve it? Did you pull it? Did you chop it? Did you sauce it? Right? Those things would better help us make us know how you're enjoying your smoking process. But thank you very much for your email. We love it. Please, other folks, jump on the bandwagon. Get your. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you what you want. So the way this works is we got some swag back here from our sponsors, right? So Spidel's got the biggest, like 18 boxes back there. But also All Temps Labor Leasing sent us some things. So yeah, we'll get in touch with you. We'll let you pick what you want, and you can get a free free gift from our sponsors, which I think is very nice. So thanks for your email, and please, other folks, get typing. Okay, so that is our made guy or whacked episode.
Vin, you know what I really want to just touch base on real quick while we got a second here is I just want to give a little tease for next week's show. Next week we're going to have a special guest, Rich Yang, the barbecue ninja out of Warwick, Rhode Island.
He's awesome.
Oh, he is good, and he's developed a very loyal following, and he's a true backyard hero. We like to call him guys that start cooking for their friends, and sometimes they end up doing competitions and traveling all over the country. And we want to hear Rich's story. Because he has started competing. We met him at the Rhode Island Barbecue Championships in June in East Greenwich. And actually, he's a friend of a son of mine. That's how I really first met him. He's a friend of Zach's. And it's going to be great talking to him. Just a few minutes we spent to him at the Barbecue Championships. He was really impressive. And it's going to be good hearing his story and where he's headed. And what he likes to do.
Yeah, we had him on the phone earlier, kind of meeting of the minds, and he sounded pumped because we were telling him how it was actually your idea when we started the publication site of having the backyard hero, and because it's important, right? We can go to every barbecue restaurant we want. We can go to any barbecue competition and watch the pros kill it, but it's these guys in the backyards that are really making it happen, and so we want to kind of respect that little caveat of cooks, and seeing how Rich came from that world. He was like, "Yeah, I'd love to get involved with that." I don't know where that's going to end up, but that's what we're going to talk about next week. I don't know. He had some great ideas. He had some great ideas of what he wanted to do with the segment and how to build on it. So
yeah, and you guys are going to hear it first here. You're going to hear what the guy has on his mind, and a lot of these guys that. We talked with the competitions or the restaurants. They started out the same way, cooking for their friends and family and just being so good at it that their friends are like, hey, you ought to go into business or you ought to enter competitions. And I think Rich is one of those guys, and it's going to be really interesting to talk to him.
Yes, absolutely. So, let's get back to today's topics. And we talked about tailgating and enjoying that last civilization of neighborhoods as we enjoy food in parking lots, be it for a sporting event or be it a concert or it could be anything, but it's usually those things. And we talked about international cooks from with our international A-list celebrity organizer Yesmin. And I'd like to kind of round off and put those two together. I don't know the best way to try to get those two together, but that's I think we should follow up with.
Well, it depends. Really, it depends on the person that's doing the cook, right? I mean, do you want to do the hot and fast and do the cooking right there on site at the tailgate, or are you looking to be a little more in depth and planning out a true slow and low cook where you start the day before and either continue at the tailgate site or cook it all at home and then bring it to the tailgate site? It really depends upon what your level of what's the word I'm looking for? Not commitment, but the level of desire. What your goal is for that tailgate.
I say entertainment, right? Because let's face it, cooking is the ultimate entertainment process, right? You're showpiecing yourself and your skills, and when you do that, you can enjoy it. Now you might not want to. You might want to throw a football with the kids. You might want to play cornhole or something, right? So you might want to just get on some steaks or get on some hot dogs and hamburgers. But if you do want to really host your friends and enjoy the process, right? I think the best way, Jasmine, would go with probably an Argentinian arisado cook, because there's something where you can get a nice Weber grill smoking hot, right? And at the same time you can have a secondary grill doing something a little lower, and in between those two temperatures you can do different types of how'd you say, barbacoa?
No, the barbacoa, carne asada.
No, that's not it, Ven.
Well, I don't speak Spanish, so which one is it?
carne asada.
Carne asada.
O la carne ranchera.
Yes,
Yeah.
the carne
La
ranchera.
carne
There you
ranchera.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I agree. So I have to agree because I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're saying. Yeah, no, I think that's basically, what, like you said, what do you want to do? I just, I try to encourage people that when it comes to grilling, if you want to entertain, is get out of your box, right? Try something new. You don't have to. You can achieve really delicate, interesting smokes and or grills with different meats that are just not your steaks or your briskets. You can go with a tri-tip. You can get a nice 6-7 pound tri-tip. You can get that on a grill at about 325 degrees. You can cook that puppy. That thing will be done in surprisingly 2.5 hours, maybe 3, and that's going to be at a 135 internal temperature. You take it out, you slice it. It's amazing. It's the most tender kind of roasted meat you'll have, and it came off your grill. So there you go. You can try something like that. Another one which it requires a little more, I'm going to say, not patience so much, but practice, is a vacío. A vacío is also known as a bavette from France. It's basically like 3 pieces of the cow across his. I'm the cow.
I thought I was the cow, but I guess he took the place.
No, you're not the cow. No. All right, come on. I don't even want to see. We were doing so good. It must be getting late. Anyways, it's 3 pieces of meat, right? So it's the inner skirt piece, it's the flank steak, and it's the bavette. And what makes it so interesting is that the way it because it's cut just like that, you have levels or layers of fat in between these pieces of meat cuts. And that fat is what's going to render down in your cook and make everything taste so delicious. Problem being, got to go a little lower and slower with this, right? You can't, this is not hot and fast. This is low and slow, and you got to have the patience with it. Again, you can get your green egg, you can drop down the grate, you can get some hickory on there, and you can go low and slow that way. Might be a little tough on a green egg because this is a big piece of meat, guys. All right, this is 13 pounds, 13 to 15 pounds.
All right, I can't. I gotta start.
What?
A green what?
A green egg.
A green egg.
All right, it's a green
Continue.
egg. It's a green egg. Anyways, yeah. So a little slow and low with that, and you'll get through it. Or go play cornhole, and meanwhile put on there a good old fashioned USDA prime cut of beef, like a New York sirloin steak, a ribeye steak. Get the pink off and get it on a plate and enjoy it. And that's it. That's the way to do it. I mean, but regardless of what you do, get out of your box and try with these. I mean, that's where we go.
Just be patient, like it's not just patient, it's passion for cooking.
Yes.
I will call it that way. You have to love not only eating, but you have to love cooking, the whole process. It's just amazing how the way you describe things makes it, sound like interesting. It's like you're driving me to go and try to do some slow cooking,
Right?
which I've never done myself.
Yeah,
but yeah, I can't wait to really see a video of him doing the whole thing.
It really is the process of patience, right? I mean, you just you start with taking the meat out of the fridge. You got to get it to room temperature. The seasoning usually on a brisket or a big piece of meat is simple. It's salt and pepper, and don't be stingy with the salt. It's a big piece of meat, guys. Have at it. And then you just got to go through the process. You got to get through the cook and the push and the whole process. And don't you guys know what the push
Talk
is.
about that push. It's very important. This is very important, guys.
Well, no, we talked. I mentioned it to you before. It's the biggest mistake in brisket cooking. First timers, Brad. I don't know if you cooked a brisket yet. If you have, tell us about it. We'd love to hear about your first brisket. If not, go get one. Okay, you're going to spend about $125. You're not gonna completely screw it up. If you do screw it up, you might nail it, and you're going to love it. And your friends are going to talk to you like you're a hero because the process is amazing. But anyways, the push when cooking a brisket is just that. It's when it's almost like the meat starts pushing back on the temperature, right? So you put your brisket in, it's 70 degrees, you let it run, it goes 5-6 hours, and then you go look at it and you're like, oh wow, I'm at 150. Right, I'm going to 200.
It's gonna be done.
Right? No. So not with a brisket. So when you go low and slow, right, it's different from a steak, right? 135, you're out, right? Because you're eating it. It's 1 inch thick. It's juicy. It's got all that going for it. But when you're doing a brisket, it's got to be tender, and the only way you're going to get it tender is you got to get it up over 200 degrees. And even when you get it to 200 degrees, you got to let it rest. But regardless, when you get around 150, 160, and you're thinking, wow, I came up 5 hours, I came up 90 degrees, right? Or 100 degrees, I'm almost done. But that's when the push occurs. And in the process of the push, it's just that. It's the meat pushes back on the temperature. So inside the brisket, you have the two muscles, and one's the flat and one's the point. And in these two muscles, there's a whole layer of fat in the middle of the muscles called the deco. And that deco starts breaking down. And as it breaks down, as you can imagine, it's releasing juices back into the beef, which cools it.
Cools it off.
So now it's not going to get colder, but it just doesn't get as hot as fast. So you just got to have patience with it. Biggest mistake is people say, what the hell's going on? 5 hours, I went up 100 degrees, and now it's 3 hours, and I went up 10 degrees. What am I doing wrong? So what do? They turn it up. And big mistake, right? Because now you're not going slow and low anymore, and you're not giving it the time it needs to cook, and you're going to dry that puppy out. Because all you're going to do is you're going to overcook the deco too quickly, and you don't want to do that. So go slow, have patience with it, get some of the new technology, put a meteor, they actually call it. It's a battery operated Bluetooth meat thermometer you can put in there. You can pick them up. I think they're $60 at Amazon.
Can't you even you can get it on your phone? Do they have an app for it?
Yep. Those they work on an app. It looks like a spike. It looks like a 10-penny nail, and it takes a charge from a little docking station, connects to a Bluetooth to that little charging kit, which then connects to the Wi-Fi in your house, and now you can look at it on your phone. There's no controls over the oven with it. It's just reading that temperature gauge, but now you can read that temperature gauge and you can see what's going on. You can take notes. That's the biggest thing I encourage everybody. Take notes on your cooks. Be patient with everything. Take notes and learn, and don't be afraid to screw up. I mean, that's what you got to do. I think the best advice I've gotten from competitive cooks is, I ask them all the time, okay, my readers want to know, like, how do they become you? How do they get to the next level? And they say all the time, pay attention to your cook, stay dedicated to your cook, take notes, and make mistakes, because that's the only way you learn how to get better, right? So, I encourage people to buy some different meats, practice with them, and screw them up.
You were also mentioning about Olivia and how you keep she keeps track of the graphic of the humidity and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So those are very important points that I think you should explain it.
So my first smoker was a chimney type smoker, butane with wood chips. So I was, that's very traditional. It's a cheap, easy machine to get into. You got a constant fire. You don't have to put coals in. You just got to maintain your wood chips and for your smoke, and there you go. I got real spoiled with that type of cook, that kind of hands off kind of cook. So my next grill I bought 7 years ago was Olivia, and she was only Olivia this year, but she's a Yoder smoker, and it's a pellet fed smoker. And so this year I refurbished her, and in doing so, the control board that controls the fans and the auger that drops the pellets in is now digital, Wi-Fi controlled, and has temperature probes for it. So super simple. You throw in your probes, you name them.
It doesn't sound that simple.
It doesn't sound super simple. I'm very intimidated.
No, it's amazing. You put it on.
I know why the push is intimidated.
Set the temperature. Read your heat. It keeps a nice track for you. You can put notes in there. Notes are key.
Let's talk about your notes. What are you recording?
Everything.
In your book?
Everything.
So run it down. Run me down. You're doing a cook. You did your cook. What are you writing down in that?
All right, so
notebook?
you need to know your size first of all, right? What's the size of meat you're cooking, right? Next thing is you already know what temperature you want to cook at. Right? Usually 250 is the happy one, right? 225 is even better, but the problem with 225 on any smoker is the consistency of that heat, right? Because you can drop down under 200, and you don't want to do that. So you want to be at 250, and if it drops a little bit, you're not too concerned. So you know your temperature, and now it comes down to how long did it cook. So you want to see that's the note that is you want to keep track of. But everything affects that, right? So the temperature outside will affect it. The humidity will affect it. The wind will affect it. And people say, oh, yeah, well, that's windy. It cools your grill off. No. If it's windy, it drives more wind through your smoker.
Makes it hotter.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know, you think you're setting it at a setting that you did before and it should be 250, but it's 275. You're like, what's going on? Why is this? It's the same fuel, right? It's the same pellets. It's the same, and it's just because it's windy out.
It's getting more oxygen.
Yep. Humidity is another one because humidity will affect how the grill recovers in the heat. So you just keep track of those things. They're right on your phone. You just write them down. You know, my wife thinks I'm nuts, but it's helpful because here's why, right? You're cooking something. You're expecting the push, but this push is different. Why is it different, right? Oh, maybe it's a bigger piece of meat. Maybe it's a simple answer. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something you can't explain. But then all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, the humidity last time was 30%. Now it's 85%. It's the damn humidity. So you got to learn from that. And next time you go out and you're cooking, because, you know, it's a process that, I put
gives you a reference point.
Yeah. I put my brisket on easily 9 o'clock the night before I serve it. And I let that thing run until 6 a.m. And that's usually when I wrap it. After I wrap it, I let it run until about noon, 1 o'clock. That's when I'm coming up on the 200s, and now I pull it. And even when I pull it, I put it in a Combro warmer, and I let it just rest for another 2 hours. And people are like, you're crazy. You just spent, all this time getting up to 200. It's getting cold. No, it's not. It's going to come back down to 170. It's going to be 175 when you serve it, but you eat a steak at 135.
Perfect.
So it's, you know what I mean? So it's, but now you gave it all that time to reabsorb all those juices that it was melting out of it beforehand. And
whereas if you hack it up right out of the grill, all the juice is going to end up on your cutting board.
Yeah, if you're making an Instagram video, it looks great, right? You just take it out, cut it while it's still hot, fold it in half, and squeeze it, and all that juice is just run out of it. It looks amazing, but that's not going in your mouth. It's not going in your stomach, right? It's on your plate. So you want to give it that time to recover. It's important.
The key point is actually don't go lower 225, but then when you rest it, you go low to 200.
Well, it's going to drop, right? When you rest it, right? So you take it out at 210. Right? I like 210. Some people say the magic number is 204, 208. I like 210. And you take it out, and it's going to cool, right? I don't care what you do. You got a Cambro, it's good. I put some warming plates in my Cambro even, but it's still going to get cooler. But if it cools to 170, even 160, it's not cold, right? Think about it. You eat your steak, it's 135. But
still gonna be hot.
It doesn't have to. You want to get it to 200 to break down the fats. You don't need to eat it at 200. So eating it at 160, 170, you're fine. And there you go. But I think we were mentioning my wife's daughter, boyfriend, fiance, I believe. I hope I didn't.
Geez, we didn't miss that wedding, did we? Sorry.
But anyways, he's a smoker. And he asks a lot of questions, and we got trade stories back and forth. But what I like about it is he doesn't ask any advice, right? He'll come back to me after his cook and say, "Oh, I did this and this happened," and okay. And there's, I breathe deep because all I hear is my wife's voice in the back of my head that I'm nuts. But the aerodynamic when you trim your brisket, what you're trimming for is you're trimming fat. Okay, why? You want to get enough fat off that your salt and pepper stick to the brisket. But you want to leave enough fat that kind of protects it from the heats that it's going to go through, right? But believe it or not, there's an aerodynamic issue or thing that happens to brisket. When you put it in the smoker and the smoke runs over it, if it has a flange of fat hanging over, it's blocking where that smoke's going to go later on. So you need to almost cut it and get it into a shape that makes it aerodynamic, almost like an airplane wing. And now that smoke's touching everything.
Now I do feel intimidated.
You got to build an airplane now.
It can get, you can make it as complicated as you want, I guess. But the idea is get something that works for you. And once you like it, just improve on it and practice and practice and practice. So did I say those competitors, they say, get out of the box, right?
Yep.
Try different things. And they say, throw half your shit away,
Yeah.
right? Because you'll go out and you'll buy every gadget, everything that YouTube wants to sell you. I will say invest in some nice temper gloves because you will burn your fingers. But other than that, throw the other half of it out and just go back to your instincts because you're going to need them. That's the advice I'd heard, and it's worked for me. So that's the advice I'd give.
Sensitive.
Well, that does it for another week, folks, over here at Wise Guys Barbecue. Thanks for joining us, and thank you, Yesmin,
Thank
for
you,
being
guys.
here.
It was a pleasure being with you over here. Felt a little intimidated, but I learned a lot.
Well, so, I'm glad you learned a lot, and you are international celebrity A-list angel, and it's important the celebrity barbecue masters and pit masters you can bring to our audience because there's a lot of, I'm not going to say marketing drives everything, but it does, right? Clicks drives everything. And there's amazing people out there with this bearded butcher and the mad scientist and the list goes on. But there's some unbelievable people that are doing this internationally that people don't even know. Like we were talking about Matt Matheson from Canada. I never knew he existed. There was another one. Another one I didn't even hit on. It was the DJ Barbecue. He's from England. And he doesn't speak at all. He just does cooks and he has music, great music. And rock and
he's
roll
got a
music.
nice combination going.
Yep.
Great music, great food.
So there's a lot of great things like that we want to learn about, know about. So I think if you come out, every couple of episodes and tune our listeners into everything that we need to know, that'd be great. So thank you very much for being here. And remember, next episode will be next week. We've committed to one a week now, folks. So please look for it. Subscribe so you get those notifications in your inbox when they come out. But they should be out every Friday before the weekend. So we're going to do one of these once a week. And next week we're going to have Rich Yang. Rich Yang.
Rich Yang.
Yep. Rich Yang from
Da Barbecue
Ninja.
Ninja.
And we're trying to I'm kind of coaxing him in to see if he'll bring his wife with him because it is a team. There's a team there. I know it's him and his wife, and there's two other gentlemen. I don't know how they're related or on the team, but there's a 4-person team that really kills it. So the more that come, the better because we learn more. So we'll talk more about that, Rich. But we're looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Yep. And
Yasmin, you get the game ball.
Oh, nice!
The most valuable player
of the team
because you did such a great job. You were
Thank
very
you, guys.
natural,
Thank you.
and I know you were. You're hard on
Appreciate it.
yourself, and you think, "Oh, that was terrible," but you did really well.
Thank you.
And I'm proud of
Appreciate
you.
it.
Luke, she's really not going to keep it, so don't get too nervous. Right now, my son's twisting in his dorm room.
I was gonna start practicing
I
my
broke my ankle on
225
that
degrees on the grill.
Hey, it's pigskin.
Yep. And please also remember our sponsors, Spidell. Get those watch bands clicking. You need to check out there. Spidell.com is their website. Also, if you're looking for a job or you're looking for temporary labor in any industry, you can always call on our other sponsors, All Temps, Labor Leasing. They're awesome. 401-521-6262 off the top of my head is their phone number. And that's our sponsors. So I think I got all my business done.
Sounds like it.
Okay.
It's like it.
Peace. Take care, everybody.
Adios.
Bye.
You've been listening to Wise Guys Barbecue. Obviously, our passion is barbecue. We love everything about it. We always have the inside scoop on the best cooks, the hottest joints, and the juiciest stories in the world of barbecue. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, hit the website at wiseguybbq.com. Find us on Instagram at wiseguys.bbq and on Facebook at Wise Guys Barbecue. Make sure to check out the website associated with the podcast. It's www.ribbqnews.com. See you next time on Wise Guys Barbecue.